will be having what is meant by economics, its definition, and then characteristics, scope of economics, all those things. So that we are going to discuss now. So what is meant by economics? So economics, it has come, the word has come from the Greek language, Greek word oikos and nemin. So these are the two terms from which economics, that word term got derived. So what is meant by oikos? So that is known as household, and nemin means management. So what is meant by economics from Greek word? It has came and it is known as management of household. So if you see this economics, actually it revolves around four aspects. Okay, so one thing is, all human beings, they have only limited resources. Either it can be an individual or it is a business, whatever might be. So always we have resources in scarce. Okay, so scarce means very much limited. So then if you see our wants and ends, everything, wants, everything are unlimited. Okay, so as an individual, if you see what is meant by household means individual person. Okay, so those a person running their own family, so those people are known as household. Okay, so management of household means how with the limited resources you are going to satisfy all your needs and wants. So that is the most important aspect, and economics is speaking that about. Okay, so if you have a limited income, so if you are earning around some 20,000 or 30,000, something like that, but you have certain needs and wants. So what is meant by need? Need means the basic thing which is required for our survival. Okay, so the basic essentials, you might be knowing that food, clothing, shelter, these are the basic thing for man's survival. We require these basic necessities or the essentials. But apart from that, what we are expecting, shelter means like a house. Okay, so you might have an think that I want a luxurious building or flat, or one which lot of home. But if you go for a flat or some gated community, or some I want to settle in a particular city like that, with a lot of amenities must be there. So all these things comes under the luxuries. Okay, so need means I need a shelter to live. But want is how I require that. Okay, so my home, how it should be. So that is the uh, want there. Okay, so need is a simple thing only: food, clothing, and shelter. Similarly, clothes to wear, that is okay, but I require a very costly sari, or shirts or pants or something like that basis. Like that, if I go for thing more costlier one, or I want to lead a luxurious life, then only our wants are coming into existence. So there is a difference between need and want. So always our needs and wants are always unlimited, because always our resources will be very limited. But we want always our expectations, everything will always keeps on changing. Okay, so first I would need a bike. I might think just a bike is okay for me to travel from here to office or something like that. But later on, my mind will get changed. Always it keeps on fluctuating, right? So I next my mood will go for buying a car then. Okay, so like this, my wants will always gets accumulated. Every now and then my taste and preference, priority, everything, it keeps on changing. So then only we are going to lack the resources there. Then I couldn't afford means my resources will not be that much. Okay, so earning 20,000 or 30,000, I can monthly, in that I can lead life accordingly. But if I go in for luxurious car like that, then my resources will not support me to go in that luxurious car or for a luxurious flat like that. Okay, so actually the economics, that term has been derived from the Greek word oikos and nemin. Oikos means it is known as household, that is the normal individual persons, we are known as the households. And naming means management. As you know, the word management means all the management functions, like how you will plan, how you will organize all those things. So how you are going to lead your life with that 50,000 earning or 30,000 earning, how you are going to run your family and how you are going to satisfy your own wants and needs there. So that is known as management of household. So economics, it deals with even the individual person and even the business also it deals with. So how they are going to use their resources, what are the available resources to them, how they are going to utilize that and produce the product or provide the service to the customers. So even the firms and the businesses are also included over here. And even a country, how it's going to provide some welfare amenities or something to the society there. For the normal public, what it going to provide, what is having actually, what are the resources available to them, how they are going to provide these services with their own resources. So everything. So economics, the term itself, actually it is comprised of how you are going to produce a product, how you are going to distribute the product, how customers are going to consume the product, in what quantity they will be consuming the product, based upon that what resources are available to us, and how we are going to use these resources in the best possible manner, and you are going to satisfy your customers needs and wants, how you are going to meet that. So that is known as actually what is meant by economics. So next, if you see, economics is often referred to as the science of choice, due to the fact that scarcity forces people to choose. Always there is a term called scarcity whenever you come to resources. So what is meant by the resources? For me, the salary or the income that I earn is the resource that is coming to me. Okay. For a business, the plant and machinery is using, the labor is employed in his factory, all those things, whatever the money has put over as capital, so that is known as the resource. So always the resources are scarce in nature. Okay, so because it is scarce, we have to decide upon, okay, so which how to spend my money. If I am earning 30,000 or 40,000, now in this 40,000, how I am going to make a plan on what to expend, on how much I have to spend for grocery items, and on what amount I have to spend for my entertainment, on clothing, how much I have to pay rent and electricity bill, all those things. And like this, I have to make a plan out of that. So since my resources are very limited, now I have to decide upon, I have to choose on what to spend. Okay, how to allocate my resources, how to allocate my resources towards that expenses. So this is applicable for both individual households as well as for the business people. So both of them, even a country as well. So all are included over here. So economics definition is that it speaks about, it is referred to as a science of choice, due to the fact that scarcity forces people to choose. Okay, so if I am having a 20,000 in my hand, either I have to spend that 20,000 for all the essentials things, whatever I have to meet my monthly expenditures. Okay, so for that I have to spend rent some 7,000 like that, and then electricity bill some 1,000 or 2,000, and with that 20,000 only I have to pay the school fees or the education fees, all those things, or whatever. Either that 20,000 I can expend in that way, or 20,000 I can purchase a tea EV or something, one which is affordable in that range. Okay, so now I have to choose over which is my priority and which will give me utmost satisfaction. All those things I have to take into consideration. So the resources are very scarce in nature, and how these resources I am going to allocate and get out a best satisfaction or maximum satisfaction utility from that. So that is known as the economics. And economics is the social science that decides about production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So production is that a country or a business, they have to think about. So how much inputs I have, that is whatever the resources I have in my hand to produce the product. Now, what is the customer's requirement? Accordingly, I have to allocate the resources and carry out my production process. And then distribution, as you know, how it's going to reach the customers, to whom all I have to serve. Okay, so I am just like that. I cannot produce for the entire market. That is not possible for the entire society. Which particular segment of people or whose needs I have to satisfy. So that also I have to decide about. And then consumption of goods and services. So how the people consume whatever the product you have produced, how people will be consuming your product, in what quantity they will be purchasing, very often or at times only they purchase your product, how the customers demand in the market. All those things speaks about the economics. So there are various economists, they have contributed. Okay, so like Adam Smith, Alfred Marshall, David Ricardo, there are a lot of people contributors to the economics. So those people, they have given different definitions from their own viewpoint, from their own perspective. They have given lot of definitions about economics. And next comes it is the study of how individuals and societies use limited scarce resources to fulfill human wants and needs. So always it revolves. So all these definitions, everything, it revolves around the same aspect only. So what is meant by basically economics? Just like that, you can tell the resources are scarce and they are very limited. Human wants are unlimited. You have to allocate onto which how resources you are going to allocate in the best possible manner, so that it satisfies the human wants and needs. So ultimately this is the definition about economics. So these aspects only the economics, the term revolves around. It is applicable even for an individual household or for a business firms or even a country. Okay, so even a country, they cannot produce produce and serve the entire market. They may lack certain resources, natural resources. So particularly if you see for the oil and petroleum kinds of products, we largely depend upon the other nations only. Okay, so we lack certain natural resources. Yes,
மேம் இப்ப சொன்ன டெஃபினிஷன் இன்னொரு வாட்டி சொல்லுங்க மேம்.
definition. So
resources are scarce and it is very unlimited, very limited. Then ma'am.
okay, so economics, the term is known as, because resources are scarce. Resources are always scarce in nature. Okay, so they are very limited. Okay, one point is resources are very limited, they are scarce. And next thing, human wants are unlimited. Okay, so even though our need is basically we need a food, clothing, shelter, basically we need that only, but even then our wants are always unlimited. So first point is resources are scarce, limited. Human wants are unlimited. Okay, then people have to make choices. People have to make choices. Make choices.
Then ma'am.
People have to make choices and they have to allocate resources. They have to allocate resources. so as to achieve so as to achieve so as to achieve their maximum satisfaction. See, you can so as to achieve the maximum satisfaction. Okay, see, these are the definitions which has been given by the economist. Okay, so generally in your answers you have to write only the definitions which are given by the person. Okay, so Adam Smith, Alfred Marshall, they people from their own perspective they have given the definition. So define economics. If you come across that question, then you have to give any of the definition which has been given by the economist only. Okay, so in order to make you simple easily understand, I have told this one. Okay, so that's what economics is all about. You have to give the definition which is given by the economist only. Okay, maximum try to give the definition given by economist. So this is all about what is meant by economics. And next, moving to what is meant by resources. So always we are telling that resources are scarce. Resources are scarce. Scarce means what? Limited. Okay, so we cannot serve the entire market or entire society or all the consumers. We cannot serve or we cannot satisfy. So what is basically resources means? Resources means it is otherwise known as inputs. You can tell them as inputs, or you can tell them as factors of production. Okay, from the economic subject point of view, what is meant by resources means it is input, or it can be termed as even a factors of production. So factors of production, what is meant by factors of production? So land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. So these are the resources or the factors of production or the inputs that basically we require to produce goods and services. So in order to produce, if I am a manufacturer, if I am running a business unit, I want to produce certain goods and services. Goods means the commodities. Okay, so one which is very tangible in nature, like commodities or the products I want to produce. So that is known as goods. And services are the intangible items. Okay, so like providing healthcare services to the people, to the society, or education, like that, all those things are intangible in nature. Those comes under the service. Banks, educational institutions, all those things comes under the service sector. Okay, now I am running a business unit. I want to provide or produce goods and services, then I require certain resources. So now I require the land. Okay, so what type of business I'm doing? If I am running a furniture manufacturing, like that, accordingly I need wood for that. Okay, so wood or whatever materials I require for that, timber or whatever I require, teak wood or whatever wood I require to produce that. So that I have to get it from the natural. Okay, natural resources I require. Okay, so I basically for certain products manufacturing I require some water. Okay, so natural water I require, or some fruits or like food products. If I want to manufacture, I require certain resources for that. Milk products or some fruits, like that, some ingredients has to be added, then only I can produce that product, right? So land is that the resources that you extract from that whatever you are taking out. So that is the land. Labor is here the employees or the laborers that you engage for carrying out the production activity. Okay, so without manpower I couldn't do nothing. Even though if I have a plant and machinery, everything got installed, I have to make a person, I have to appoint a person and give him necessary training or something like that, and then only I can do my work. Okay, so I can get the work from him. Okay, so labor. So here labor, his potential is very important here. His skills and abilities with which he is coming. to my organization, to my factory, and what skill he possesses, whether technical skills, everything he has got to operate that machinery, everything he knows well. Okay, what creativity, with what creativity and skill is coming to my organization. So that is also very important. And to hire him, I have to pay necessary salary and wages also. Okay, so all these things, it requires some amount you to pay. Okay, so if I am using these resources, they require me to pay certain amount. I have to incur certain cost for availing these resources in my organization or in my factory. So land, labor, so with what skills and efficiency is coming and what is contributing to my company, and what I have to pay in return, what cost I incur, what benefit I'm getting from him. So all these are very important. And capital. Okay, so capital is that the amount which you invest in your business. Apart from that, even plant and machinery, whatever land and building, whatever I'm going to invest in my business, so that is known as the capital. So without capital, nothing can be done. Okay, so even though if you have ideas for doing a business, in innovative thinking, whatever you might have a new method to produce a product or something, technology, everything you might have, but ultimately you need even a financial support, finance you require. And what type of product you're going to produce, that also decides about how much labor you want to involve, how much capital you want to invest. All those things also depends upon the type of product you produce. So that is basically known as labor intensive thing or capital intensive. Labor intensive means where more number of labors are required. Okay, so generally for stitching a shirt, pants, or something, for stitching type of activity, all those some activities, no, they require the support of manpower. Certain industries, no, they don't require much of manpower. Instead of that, huge plant and machinery you want to invest, and you have to keep it and install it in your factory. So it depends upon the type of product you produce, nature of product, that only determines how much capital you require, how much labor you require, and other resources, how much you require. All those things, it depends upon the nature of business you are doing with. And entrepreneurship is that the from the person who is going to do the business, who is going to start up the business, so that person is known as entrepreneur. So now that entrepreneur, he must possess necessary decision making skills, he must have creativity, what type of R&D activity has to be carried out in his business, how to promote the product, how to produce the product, how the resources can be best utilized, how efficiently we can work out. All those things, even the entrepreneur, the person who is starting up the business, must also do that. Okay, so these are the resources, the factors of production which are required for producing a goods or service. So in return, all these, I have to incur a certain cost to engage all these resources. I have to pay them certain thing. So I have to pay them cost. Okay, so like if for the materials I purchase, or the resources I extract, or the for the water or some other natural resources, if I'm using, I have to pay them in return back. Or sometimes I might use the land for my production activity, for which I have to pay rent back to that landlord. And similarly, labor, they demand wages from me, salaries from me, the employees, those who I'm engaging with. And capital always, whatever you invest in the business, no, it has to give him that proprietor back. Okay, so it has to give along with interest. How you are going, if you are going to deposit in your bank, you will be if you are investing 2 lakhs in your FD or 5 lakhs in your FD, you expect a interest from that, right? So it has to pay at the end of that maturity period, say for 1 year or 2 years, it has to pay something extra additional to me, right? So that is known as interest. Okay. So similarly, even the capital, whatever that firm is going to invest in their business, that capital should give him some interest back. Okay. And similarly, the entrepreneur, ultimately, what is the aim of doing the business? You have to earn the profit. Okay. So at most possible, how you can use the resources in the best possible way, so that you can reduce your cost of production and you can increase your profits. That will be your ultimate aim. So in this, all the resources, they require you to pay the reward. They require something you have to incur for availing those resources. So these are the various resources, or it can be named as factors of production, or it can be named as even inputs. So all are both meaning same only. So these are the resources. This resources we are considering right from the business perspective, not from an individual perspective. Individual perspective means the salary which I earn, or the source which is coming to me, the income that is coming to me, that is the resource. But here, from the business point of view, we are thinking it over. So how we are going to utilize the resources in the best possible manner, so that I can reduce my cost of production, and I can also satisfy the customers' want. People want also, I can satisfy that point of view only here we are considering. And what are the basic economic concepts we usually come across in economic subject? This is supply and demand. Okay, so what is meant by demand? Demand is always, if I am having an intention to buy, that one alone will not be demand. Okay, if I am having the capacity to pay and buy that product, then that constitutes demand. Okay, so just like that, I am having a want to buy LED TV or something like that, mobile phone, something or a laptop or something. Just I am having a wish to buy that. That alone will not. We cannot name it as a demand. Only if I have the necessary income to buy that, or I can pay for that price of the product, then only it constitutes the demand. And supply is that what the firm is actually, they have got the ability to serve the market, that is known as the supply. So always the economics that will revolve around demand and supply usually, and scarcity. So this is also other important term. Scarcity means it is very limited in nature. Okay, so even though this earth surface is one third, more than that, it is surrounded by water, they are saying oceans and water, it is even then we tell that water is scarce. Okay, we don't have sufficient drinking water, like that. So scarce means it's very limited than whatever we require. We have a expectation, we have a requirement more, but whatever it is in our hands, it is very limited actually. So that is known as scarcity. Okay, and what is meant by opportunity cost? So if opportunity cost, this is a very important terminology we usually come across in economics, finance and other subjects. So opportunity cost. Okay, so if you have given a choice, if you have given an alternatives choices, from that you are going to pick one. Because of that, if you are going to sacrifice something, that is known as opportunity cost. For example, if I am having two alternatives, either to study for tomorrow's exam or else go for a movie. Okay, so now if I am going to skip my studies, and if I am going for a movie, then I am going to sacrifice my studies here. Or if I am going to study now because of tomorrow's exam, tomorrow I have an exam, so I am going to study, prepare well for my exam. So I'm going to lose that ticket. Okay, movie ticket I am going to lose. So because of one, you will always be having a lot of choices to do. Okay, so a lot of choices will be there, lot of alternatives will be there. From that, if I am going to choose one thing, I am going to lose the other one or sacrifice the other one. So that cost is known as the opportunity cost. Similarly, like like if I want to do my postgraduate PG degree after completing my UG, I want to do a PG, or else I can go for a job. My offer is already ready with me. Okay, I've got a offer letter from a particular company. Now I'm thinking it over to do PG. Okay, further higher studies if I want to do, then I'm going to lose that offer letter. I'm going to sacrifice my job, and I'm going to pick that option that I'm going to do a PG degree, higher education somewhere. Or I'm going to opt for the job offer letter. I'm going to go for a job, and so that I am going to sacrifice my PG degree now. Okay, like that. So based upon the alternatives, if I'm going to choose any of the one thing and I'm going to sacrifice the other one, then that is known as the opportunity cost. So next, moving on to the time value of money. So always this is other important term which we usually come across in economics and finance or whatever might be, time value of money. So what is meant by this time value of money? Okay, so if I call a person and tell him that I will give you 10,000 rupees today, okay, and either you want to receive it today or on next month or next year. If I tell him, what he will tell that you give me now itself. Okay, because if I get that 10,000 rupees now, I can deposit it into a bank account, or I can buy gold or something which is okay for me, that that will get appreciated for that 10,000 or 1 lakh something. So whatever might be. So like this, what he will always think, he will think about the return. Okay, so the return which he can get at the end of the first year, that perspective, that thing, perception only will be there for that person. Okay, so it is not sure that you might give in future is not certain to happen. You might also not give me. Okay, so if I get from you now itself, probably I can invest that in my bank account or buy some gold or something I can do with that. Okay, so that will be the person's mentality. So time value of money is that, yeah, the money which is now with you, it is worth more than the money which is going to be received in tomorrow. So that is the actual definition of time value of money. The money is worth, see, the money, whatever you are going to receive it today, it is actually worth more than what you are going to receive in future. Because money, whatever you have, it is always, it has the capacity, or it is always having a tendency to accumulate or to increase. Okay, so 1 lakh today if I'm going to receive means I can invest anywhere and get at the end of first year I can get either 1 lakh 20,000 or 1 lakh 30,000. I can earn something from that. But whatever you are going to give in future, no, it is always uncertain. You might give or you may not give, or I will not be earning anything out of that. I will be receiving only 1 lakh at the end of first year. I'm not going to earn anything more than that. So that is known as present value of money, or the time value of money, we generally we name it as. And what is meant by purchasing power? Purchasing power means the ability to buy the product. So that is known as the purchasing power. Okay, so with that 30,000 or with that 40,000, what all the products or the commodities that I can buy for my family? Okay, so that is known as my purchasing power. If you earn low, you can buy accordingly to that. If you earn more, accordingly you can buy the product, or a branded one like that. Okay, so purchasing power is that. So based upon your income earning capacity, whatever you can demand in the market, whatever you have the capacity to purchase in the market, so that is known as the purchasing power. So these usually these concepts we come across in our economic subject. Okay, next we are moving to the characteristics of economics. So usually characteristics means we can name it as nature of economics. Okay, So what is meant by characteristics of economics? Economics, it can be actually considered as a science or an art. Okay, so science means it consists of certain principles, certain guidelines, theories, laws, everything will be there. You there will it is like a discipline. Okay, so science usually in what is a science subject? You will be collecting some data, you will be collecting some facts, and you will be measuring that, you will be making some observations, some experiments will be done from that. So that is the actually science is all about. Likewise, in economics also, if you want to study about the poverty condition in a particular country, or employment rate, unemployment, if you are going to study, you want to collect first of all about the about that facts. You have to collect, you have to collect the data necessary, and you have to measure, you have to observe the society, and whatever the findings, you will be getting some results out of that. And whatever continuous process, it's like a continuous process, every time you will be examining about that. So that is known as the science. So science is applied even in the economics. You're going to study whatever the variations is happening, taking place. Okay, so economic science is actually cause and effect analysis. We usually tell them as. So what is meant by the cause and effect? Cause and effect means ஒரு பாதிப்புகள் and விளைவு அதனால. So that is known as cause and effect. So similarly, doing this kind of experiment, what it will ultimately create. So what is the effect upon? So that is known as science. Similarly, in economics also, if you are going to increase the price level, okay, so if take for example, if you are going to increase the price of a product, price of a vegetable like tomatoes, potatoes, something, if you are going to raise, ultimately what is the impact on the demand for that particular vegetable, particular thing, product? So it will reduce. Okay, it will reduce demand in the market. People, they start to reduce their consumption, or they reduce to demand in the market. So that is known as the cause and effect. Okay, so science is applied even in the economics. So how the science is, it is a systematized body of knowledge. So some systematic procedures you will be carrying out in science. You will be making observations, you will be making every now and then experiments, you will be making, you will be collecting facts, and you will be analyzing that facts. Everything you will be doing, and keeps on, you will be examining that one, and you will be finding out some cause and effect relationship, all those things how you will do in science. Similarly, you will be doing in the economics also. If you want to study about the unemployment rate, so you will be studying what is the skill and ability developed by an person, and whether he is suiting the whether he is fit for the job or not. Like this, or price and demand relationship, if you are going to study. So if I'm going to reduce the price of a product, demand will increase. If I'm going to raise the price of the product, then demand will get decreased there. So like this, if you are going to what is the cause and what is the effect upon it, so that you are going to study over here. And like science, you will be having lot of principles. In economics also, you will be having lot of theories, laws, all those things you will be having. So economics is a science. And this science, it can be either a positive science or a normative science. So what is meant by positive science? So positive science is that what is the term positive science means, this term should come to your mind. What is and normative science means what ought to be. Positive science is that you're just going to study the relationship or cause and effect. Okay, so only about you're going to just analyze what is exactly happening. So that if you're going to study means, then it is known as positive science. Okay, so if the prices keep on rising, okay, so you're going to just study what is the cause, what is the effect upon it. Okay, so like that. Like that, if you're going to study something, so poverty is getting increased day by day. Okay, so what is the reason behind that? What are the causes for that? What are the effects? Like that, if you're going to study about, you're going to make some analysis, you're going to collect some facts about that, and just if you're going to provide these details, then that is known as positive science. So you're going to make an just analysis about that. Okay, so that is known as positive science. Whereas normative science is you're going to provide some solutions, or you're going to provide something that can create a impact, that can create an impact, or it can influence. If poverty is raising means, what is the reason behind that? You're just going to find out in positive science. But what actions can be taken, what can actions can be taken in order to reduce poverty? If prices is raising, you have studied. Okay, if the prices of petrol or diesel or something, if it is keeps on raising, what is the reason behind that? All those things you are going to make analysis for positive science. But normative science is that what actions can be taken in order to reduce the prices of petrol or other fuel. Okay, so what alternate things can be done? Okay, so either you can produce on it in your own, or you can extract it on your own, instead of relying upon some other nations. What things, what steps can be taken, or what remedies or the solutions that can be, actions can be taken by from your side? So that is known as the normative science. So you're creating some norms for that, how to solve these problems. So you're going to create some norms, some rules for that, so that you can achieve your results in a better way. So that is known as normative science. So positive science is that you're going to just study what is exactly happening now, and what is the causes for of happening, and what are the reasons behind that, and what are the effects due to that. You're going to study only about that thing. But normative science is that apart from that, what solutions can be taken, what norms can be made, so that you can achieve your results in a better way. So that is known as the normative science. So positive science is what is, and normative science is what ought to be. So the next part is characteristics of economics. Can other way can be told as economics as an art. So why it is considered as an art means, if only science is there, you'll be having certain principles, certain procedures, or very systematic in nature. But if you come to an art means where practical applications is required. Okay, so practical knowledge or practical applications, just studying about poverty alone, or unemployment alone, or inflation, studying about that, collecting facts, that only will not fetch you anything. Okay, what steps can be done, what can be done for the society, all those things constitutes the art. Okay, so learning, take for example, if you know how to drive a bike or how to drive a car, what is these mechanical systems over there, how to operate that. If you know only the basic knowledge, theoretical knowledge, then you cannot drive a car or bike to and go to your destination. Only if you learn that, if you practice that, then only you can drive that bike or drive that car actually. So like that only, economics is both a science as well as an art. Science means it's just a theoretical knowledge, just a systematic knowledge. You're going to just gather facts and data, something you're going to do like that. Okay, just studying about cause and effect relationship, all about that. But only if you make some practical applications, you can achieve your results. Okay, only if you know to just knowing about driving a car, you have to go this way, you have to apply accelerator or brake or something, clutch, all those things. Just like knowing about that is not going to benefit you anyway. You cannot reach your destination wherever you want to go. Only if you drive that and go, if you practice, make a practice of driving a car, then only you come to know and you can reach your destination. Similarly, you knowing about certain problems, economic problems, whatever we are facing, inflation or unemployment, whatever might be, just knowing about that thing, nothing will fetch you. Only if you make some practical applications, then only you can achieve your results. You can reduce your unemployment or poverty or inflation in your country, whatever might be. You can see some economic growth and development for your country. So you are going to put everything, whatever the principles are there, that you are going to turn it into reality. So that is the economics is all about. So economics, it should be science as well as an art. Both are required. So without facts, without doing systematic procedures, nothing you come to know. And similarly, just having only the facts will nothing fetch you. You have to put it into practical application, then into reality. Then only you can see some results, good results. You can reach your goals there. So this is all about the characteristics of economics. It is both a science and art. If it is a science, then it can be a positive science or a normative science. And economics is even a art. And next, moving to the economic system. Okay, so before that, I just want to tell about the basic economic problems that we are usually facing. Okay, so these are the usual questions. Economic problems, where do they arise? So what to produce, and then how to produce the product, for whom to produce. Okay, so what means what type of product is demanded by the consumers in the market, what these people they require. Okay, so in which country I am, which nation economy I am belonging to, their people prefer what kind of products there, what are their needs and wants. Okay, so based upon that only what to produce, that question, for that I will be getting the solution. Okay, so what to produce, what is required by the people, by that particular society. Okay, so what type of product is required. So that is very important, what to produce. Okay, and then how to produce. Next is very important thing, how to produce the product. Okay, so I might have in my mind to produce some product. Okay, some durable product or something like that. So now how to produce, what all things are required now, what are the equipments required for that, or what type of machineries, tools are required, or spare parts or something, what actually it is required to make it out as a finished product there. So how to produce means that one only. Okay, so how to produce, how much manpower I require, labor, how many people I have to employ for my factory, and how many machines I have to buy and install. Okay, or I am going to get on a lease basis or rental basis, like that something. Okay, so how to produce is that one only. So what techniques of production I am going to adapt up, what techniques of production I am going to adapt up. Machinery or something which is specialized machinery or equipment or tool, something I required, spare parts I required to produce that product, or more manpower is required to produce that product, how I am going to produce that product. So that is very important. And for whom to produce, so which particular group of people I'm going to serve, I'm going to satisfy their wants and needs. So that is very important. Okay, so I cannot serve for the entire market or for the entire society. Okay, so my I might not have that much of enough of resources, my resources are very limited. Okay, so this is very thing important aspect, right? So the resources are very much limited and very much scarce. Okay, scarce. Okay, so scarce actually. So then I cannot serve for the entire market or for the entire society or for the entire nation. So for which particular group of people I'm going to produce, and whether they are getting satisfied or not, if I produce and supply them, whether their satisfaction, their wants will get fulfilled or not. So all those things I have to look over. So these are the basic economic problems. What are the three economic problems means this one only, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. So these are the three economic problems. Now moving to the economic system. So economic system can be classified into capitalistic economy, socialistic economy, and mixed economy. So capitalistic economy. So every what type of nation or economy you belong to, every economy, they have to come across these basic economic problems. Okay, so how they are going to produce the product, how they are going to distribute the product, and people how they are going to consume your product. So these questions we have to think over. Okay, as a country or an economy, they have to think over. And economic system is what is meant by an economic system? If there is some question like that, economic system means the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services taking place in a particular country or particular nation, particular economy. How it's going to take place? Who is going to have a majority role in that? So that is known as economic system. Now each country will be applying a different economic system. Okay, so whatever prevailing in the China will not be same possible in India or in US or in Australia or something like other countries, New Zealand or whatever might be. So the economic system, in what way we produce and distribute and consume, it differs from place to place, nation to nation.